Slowly but surely, the movie business is getting back on track. And in addition to a number of top-class films such as Spider-Man and Dune, which will be out this year, we would like to take a look at some of the most anticipated movies of 2022. Included are MCU blockbusters, an exciting video game adaptation, and hard-hitting action. So, sit back and enjoy part 1 of our most anticipated movies of 2022. 2022 will start off with a sequel to a horror classic, Scream 5. Consistent with its name, the movie is supposed to directly follow Scream 4 from 2011. In front of and behind the camera, the direction leans more towards a reboot, which of course has a lot to do with the passing of Wes Craven, the creator of the film series. With David Arquette, we will at least see one really familiar face again, as the 49-year-old has embodied Dooley Riley as the Sheriff of Woodsboro in every single Scream film so far. Also set to be back are Neve Campbell as Sidney Prescott, Courtney Cox as Gale Weathers, and Roger L. Jackson as the voice of Ghostface. The director recast will feature two directors at once, namely Tyler Gillett and Matt Bettinelli-Alpin. Among other projects, the two are known for directing the 2019 thriller Ready or Not. They themselves say Wes Craven inspired and influenced them as fans, and they are very honored to continue the life's work of the director who sadly passed away in 2015. In terms of content, we don't know all that much yet. Considering the ones returning and a couple of new faces, it probably amounts to a normal sequel to Part 4 though. Therefore, the old gang might meet again to finally put an end to the masked man after he terrorizes a few new victims. We are definitely looking forward to the horror slasher, which is scheduled for release on January 14th, 2022. As our second blockbuster of the month of January, we present Morbius. The upcoming film is, along with Venom and Venom 2, the third movie from the so-called Sony Spider-Man universe and revolves around the titular anti-hero Dr. Michael Morbius. The brilliant biochemist suffers from a difficult-to-cure blood disease which he tries to treat himself. Needless to say, this goes horribly wrong, and so he contracts a form of vampirism, which in the end is arguably even worse than the original disease itself. The 49-year-old multi-talent Jared Leto will be seen in the leading role. Joining him in front of the camera will be Good Omens star Adria Arjona as the protagonist's partner, and Doctor Who actor Matt Smith, who will be embodying the Marvel character Loxias Crown. Also starring are Chernobyl actor Jared Harris along with Tyrese Gibson, who will play an FBI agent, as well as Michael Keaton, who will be seen as the villain Adrian Toomes. Further, it will be exciting to see whether and how the film will tie in with Venom 2, which is set in the same universe. Sony's Morbius will be released in theaters on January 28, 2022. In February, there will be the release of the video game adaptation Uncharted. The focus is on Nathan Drake, who is a descendant of the renowned seafarer Sir Francis Drake. On his daring expeditions, which can be experienced in 4 parts on the PlayStation so far, he regularly ends up in the most remote places on our planet. This time, he sets off in search of the legendary city of gold, El Dorado. According to his research, it is supposed to be somewhere in South America, and so the still young explorer in the film sets off with a journalist and his mentor, Victor Sullivan, in search of the treasure. Of course, the three are not alone during their quest, and so they have to compete against other treasure hunters, mercenaries, and pirates. In the role of the young Nathan Drake, we get to see Tom Holland, while fellow actor Mark Wahlberg plays a young Sully. Especially the latter does not really raise a lot of excitement in the community, given that Wahlberg hardly resembles his video game role model in the pictures published so far, which might be mainly due to the lack of the distinctive mustache. However, the beard can still be hoped for. After all, we're talking about an origin story here, and on Instagram Wahlberg can indeed be seen with a typical facial hair. You can convince yourself of the final result in theaters from February 11th, 2022. Just over 3 weeks after Uncharted, the next movie will then be The Batman in March. Set in the 1990s, the noir narrative will pay special attention to Batman's detective skills and will be a standalone story with no connection to the DCEU, much like Joker was in 2019. The Dark Knight solo adventure will be directed by Matt Reeves, while Hollywood star Robert Pattinson will assume the lead role. The now 7th movie Batman was not well received from the start. For many, the 35-year-old is still too much associated with the teen saga Twilight, and this despite the fact that in recent years he has clearly emancipated himself from his previous parts with series roles such as in Tenet or The Lighthouse. Along with Pattinson, we will also see performances by numerous villains, including Paul Dano as the Riddler, Zoe Kravitz as an earlier version of Catwoman, Colin Farrell as the Penguin, and John Turturro as Carmine Falcone. As you can see, Batman will be very busy in the upcoming film. He can of course also hope for active support from two mates, namely Commissioner James Gordon and his benevolent butler Alfred Pennyworth. Whether the Dark Knight can stand up to his adversaries is something we will be able to find out as of March 4th, 2022. March will continue to be exciting thanks to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. The sequel to the 2016 blockbuster will, as the name suggests, take a closer look at the concept of multiverses after this was already opened up at the end of the Loki series. The cast is truly gigantic and can almost compete with the lineup of an Avengers movie. It'll feature Benedict Cumberbatch as Dr. Stephen Strange, Benedict Wong as a loyal companion Wong, Rachel Adams as Dr. Christine Palmer, Chiwetel Ejiofor as the main villain Carl Mordo, Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda Maximoff aka Scarlet Witch, and last but not least, Xochitl Gomez, who makes her MCU debut as the young superhero America Chavez. Further rumors suggest appearances by Tom Hiddleston as Loki, Bruce Campbell, and probably one of the three Spider-Man appearing in No Way Home, meaning either Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, or Andrew Garfield. Obviously, other well-known stars may also feature in the film as they might still be kept secret. Behind the camera, Sam Raimi is in charge of directing after the original director Scott Derrickson backed out and is now acting as executive producer. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness will be released in US theaters on March 25th, 2022. The month of April brings another two top-class films. The first is Sonic the Hedgehog 2. The sequel revolves around the new life of the Blue Hedgehog, who has now found a new home in Green Hills among his friends Tom and Maddie. The threat of Dr. Robotnik's return seems distant after Sonic banished him to a mushroom planet. Just as Maddie and Tom are on holiday, the villain makes a comeback, but he's not alone. Teamed up with Knuckles, with whom Sonic is not buddies here yet, Robotnik embarks on a quest to find a fabled emerald that holds the power of either destroying or building entire civilizations. In order to prevent this incredibly valuable artifact from falling into the hands of the antagonist, Sonic and his friend Tails also set out to find the emerald. As was announced a short time ago, Idris Elba will dub the Red Echidna. It goes without saying that Ben Schwartz will once again be voicing the Blue Hedgehog, while James Marsden and Tika Sumpter will be back in front of the camera as Tom and Maddie, together with Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik. The release of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is scheduled for April 8th, 2022. Marvel's Thor franchise has been thrilling fans around the globe for over a decade. The witty god of thunder will return to the big screen again next year for what is now his fourth movie. After the pandemic upset the plans to start filming in 2020, the time was right to begin shooting Thor Love and Thunder in Australia at the start of this year. The plot centers on the one hand on Thor himself, as he loses the ability to lift Mjolnir. However, the focus will be more on another character, namely Dr. Jane Foster. Mighty Thor, as she is also called, is worthy of lifting Thor's hammer and henceforth becomes the mighty goddess of thunder. In principle, the two have similar powers, but it is said that there will be some subtle differences as well. In front of the camera, we can look forward to Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Natalie Portman as Jane Foster, Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie, and Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher, among many other familiar faces. The release date of Thor Love and Thunder is set for May 6th, 2022. The action in John Wick 4 promises to be very intense. You don't need to be a clairvoyant to suspect that this time around we'll be dealing with a rather angry John Wick. He and the Bowery King are out for revenge against the High Table, the Continental, and of course his manager Winston. Featured on screen will be Keanu Reeves as John Wick, Lawrence Fishburne as the Bowery King, Ian McShane as Winston, and Lance Reddick as the concierge Sharon. One newcomer is Japanese-British pop star Rina Sawayama, who, like martial arts legends Donnie Yen and Scott Adkins, is expected to take on an unspecified role. Likewise, joining the cast in recent weeks and months have been Marco Zero, Hiroyuki Sanada, Shamir Anderson, Clancy Brown, and Bill Skarsgård. This is absolutely a cast to be excited about. John Wick Chapter 4 will be released on May 27th, 2022 in the United States. In June, we can look forward to the conclusion of an extremely successful film series with the release of Jurassic World Dominion. The hype is huge, although the date of the release is still several months in the future. One contributing element is certainly the return of some of the actors from the 1993 original, as Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum and Sam Neill will be seen together on the big screen for the first time in years. Other returning actors who will be seen alongside Chris Pratt and the like include B.D. Wong as Dr. Henry Wu, Justice Smith as Franklin Webb and Omar Sy as Barry Samban. Director Colin Trevorrow further revealed that the 1993 stars will have about as much screen time as those in the Jurassic World trilogy. Thus, nostalgics should get their money's worth. Not much is known about this story yet. Now that Macy Lockwood has released all the dinosaurs, there are many possibilities as to which direction Jurassic World Dominion could take. Is it more in terms of coexistence between humans and dinosaurs, or are the prehistoric creatures a massive threat to humanity after all? Should this be the case, how will the beasts be dealt with? Jurassic World Dominion will hit cinemas on June 10th, 2022. Well, that's it for the first part of the movies we are most looking forward to in 2022. Did you enjoy the video? Then please subscribe and activate the notification bell to ensure that you don't miss the second part of our most anticipated movies of 2022. Take care. See you next time.